Hi, I'm Tonya from Tonya's Witchy Kitchen. Back again. Today I think we're doing the vanilla bean infused oil and extract. I just went blank because I heard the chickens outside and I'm like, it's not dawn. Our chickens are just dumb. They cock-a-doodle-doo all the time, like all day. It's crazy. So it threw me off because I'm like, they're still at it. But yeah, I think that's the video we're doing today. I hope you enjoy it. Hit like, hit subscribe if you have an account. If you don't worry about it. Just keep watching. I appreciate it. So let's go check out the video. Bye. All right, here we go. So we're going to start with the vanilla bean extract. Some quick tips on vanilla beans. There's two types of grades. The grade A has more moisture and it's good for baking and desserts and those types of things. The grade B is drier and I think pretty much used for extracts. There might be other uses, but that seems to be the basic one. And there's three types of beans, main types: Madagascar, Mexican, and Tahitian. You gotta watch the Madagascar ones because sometimes they say they're from Madagascar, but they're not the Madagascar bean. That's the more traditional, rich, creamy flavor one. Mexican, or sometimes they're called bourbon, they have a more bold and smoky flavor. And the Tahitian, which is one I have now, I wanted to try that one. Supposedly a more floral or cherry chocolate or raisiny flavor. So don't freeze them or refrigerate your beans. Like I'm folding mine back up, I'm putting it into a bag, and I'm going to put it in another Ziploc bag. Like squeeze all the air out, and I'm going to put it in another bag after this to keep all the air out and put it in a cool, dark place. So the vanilla extract I am making, so the beans, I cut them lengthwise and then I chop them up. You can take a knife and scrape out the little tiny pods or whatever you see in there, but it makes such a mess doing it that I found it doesn't matter. This works just fine for me. Yeah, I use vodka. You can use bourbon or any light rum. Just make sure it's 70 to 90 proof alcohol, which is 35 to 45%. So see, just cutting them up. You don't need a really expensive brand. I don't use top shelf. I don't use bottom shelf. I use a mid-level cost. I like Smirnoff. It works great for my extracts. It works great for my tinctures. It's a basic vodka. I'm sure the guy at the liquor store thinks I'm a total alcoholic because I'll stop in for rum because I use rum for my shave splashes. I use Everclear for my transparent glycerin soaps. I use Black Velvet for our elderberry syrup. I use vodka for my tinctures and extracts. And I buy a bottle of gin because I have fallen in love with gin and tonic and lime or lemon. And that's totally therapeutic, so. Absolutely, right? Gotta have something. So make sure you use a glass jar. And I don't go by milliliters. I just measure 2 cups. I had 6 beans and I measure 2 cups of vodka over it. The FDA says for it to be a legit pure vanilla extract, it's supposed to be 6 beans to 1 cup of alcohol. And I don't think they have a length of time that it has to infuse. But since I don't sell mine at all, it's just for my family use, I use 6 beans to 2 cups of alcohol. And I let it infuse. The people say 3 to 6 months, but the longer the better. And so it's worse than soap making. So I will leave it there for a year or two if I can. Like I'll start, I have one, so this is my one I started, and I'm going to show you the one I strain. But don't put a metal cover on it because the alcohol can eat away the metal, just like witch hazel or vinegars will. So I use a plastic cover, but I do put the wax paper between because it tends to leak on me. I don't know why. People say, oh, I love the plastic covers, and mine leak, right? It's just me. Always label any concoctions you make. There's been a few times where I have made something and left it on the counter, and I come back and I'm like, I don't remember what oil I put in here. Was it olive? Was it sunflower? Was it rice bran? And always date it. This alcohol extracts really don't go bad. They can lose their potency over the years, but I mean, they don't really go bad, right? There's my recipe, and date it. Oil extracts, they're only good as long as the oil is good. And so if you make something like an oil extract or infusion, oil extract, not extracts, infusions. After a year, it's make sure it doesn't smell rancid. It smells like this funky nut scent. It's rancid. Don't use it. Just throw it. It's not worth the effort. So, which is why I make small batches of my infused oils. Okay, so back to the extract. Here is one I made in 2020. This was a different bean, and I cannot remember which bean it was, but I guess I don't label which beans I use. So I just put a cheesecloth through the strainer, and then the other thing, the canning thing, holds my stuff. And I just strain it through all those little tiny bits. I mean, I don't know how many layers of cheesecloth you would need to try and prevent them. I think I have 1, 2, 3. I think there's four layers here, maybe, to try and keep them out of the extract. And then I don't know why I did that, because I'm gonna dry the beans I have right there, and I'm actually gonna dry them for a few days and use them in the oil infusion with some new ones. But you can put them in sugar and supposedly let it infuse in the sugar, and you'll have a nice vanilla sugar. I tried that. It didn't work very well, but maybe I was impatient too. I don't know. And you can make extract out of glycerin. It's 3 parts food grade glycerin to 1 part water. Just, do the beans the same, cut them up, and just make sure they're covered by the glycerin. In case you can't have the alcohol, it's a nice option. And my extract here looks really light, but the sun is coming through like on 3 sides and from above, so it's making it look lighter than it actually is. And I'm just taking the label that was on the other jar and putting it back on, so I do not forget what the heck that is. Although if you smelled it, it smells delightful, and you can use it for baked goods, in coffees, make homemade, not Cool Whip, whipped cream, it's great in teas. It's just, I've never used so much pure vanilla in my life since I started making my own, so I put it in everything. And it's excellent. And the other jar will shake. It will get shaken once a day for a week. Sit on my counter. There it is after a week. And I'm going to put it in a dark place and let it sit there till I need it. And now the oil. I'm going to use 2 beans. Beans are precious in my house. Come on. We use 2 vanilla beans. And the dried beans from before, because, they're still good. Sometimes I put them in my coconut oil and do a hot infusion in that, and I use that for my vanilla bean body butter and my vanilla bean lip balm. And I'm really excited about the oil because I think the oil will incorporate a little bit better in my lip balm than the extract does. If I mix it up really well, do a good blend. I don't have problems, but every once in a while I do. So I'm just going to cut up my new beans the same way I did before and put them in a jar. And I'm going to put my dried beans in the jar also. See, just make sure they're fairly dry. Not that the alcohol will, if the alcohol evaporates fairly fast. But if there was some in there, it wouldn't matter, because sometimes infusions you put, like if you're doing herbs, you can put like a teaspoon of alcohol in there and mix that up first, and then you put the oil on it. But so yeah, it won't hurt if they were thicker beans and you're worried they're not dry, but they'll be fine. And then so for this, being I'm using it for my body products, I am going to use a good organic sunflower oil. Sunflower is a very, very soothing to the skin. Not a lot of allergies with sunflower oil. Like almond oil, yeah, it's hazelnut. I mean, they're beautiful oils, but there's so many allergies, and I want to stick to something that is fairly safe for everybody. So here I am. I will show you what I'm writing on there shortly. I'm writing it because I will forget what I'm putting in here. And I'm only making a small one because of rancidity in the oils. So I'm only making 4 ounces of this, which will go fairly far, for my, and it's a test batch too, so I don't need a huge one. But, and if I would use this up like fairly quickly, I will just use those beans and infuse another batch. They're very versatile. You get a lot of use out of them. It won't be as strong, but, and let me tell you, when I was done with this, it smelled delightful. Like, for the short time I infused it, oh, it smells yummy. Like, I wouldn't put it on ice cream, but it would be good. Really, really good in body products. I guess you could eat it. It's sunflower oil. But maybe on some veggies or something. I don't know. I'm talking nuts. I'm hungry. Okay, so here's my crock pot from when we got married a long time ago. I use it for soap now, just soap. I haven't put a food product in there to cook, like to use as a crock pot, since it is specifically for my soap and infusions. I put the cloth in there, the washcloth, so that my jar doesn't bust. You just never know. Give it a buffer and fill it with water. And I'm going to run it on high and shut it down to low for about 12 hours. I'll turn it back off and on, and it will infuse nicely. I can leave it then. I can go set it back in my dark storage area and leave it infused for another month, and then strain out everything and I can use it. So see, 2 new vanilla beans, some infused previously, and 4 ounces organic sunflower oil, and my date made. And there's my beautiful oil after 12 hours. I haven't strained it yet. So I hope you liked that. I hope it was informative. I'll see you next time.